The secret is not what you think it is. Everyone assumes we hide our feminine clothes or our makeup collection or our wigs. But those are just objects. The real secret is something much deeper and more powerful than anything you can put in a closet. My name is Kevin Morgan, and I am about to tell you what every femboy really hides behind closed doors. What we keep locked away even from ourselves sometimes. What we are afraid to admit even to people who love us. The real secret is hope. I figured this out on the worst night of my life. 3 months ago when everything fell apart at once and I thought about giving up forever. When I learned that hope is the most dangerous thing a person like me can carry around. It started when my boyfriend David broke up with me over text message. 3 years together and he could not even do it in person. Just a few cold sentences about how dating someone like me was getting too complicated. How he was tired of explaining our relationship to his friends. How he wanted something normal for once. I had been living with him for 6 months in his apartment near downtown, paying half the rent with money from my job at the bookstore. Building what I thought was a real life with someone who understood both sides of who I am. The masculine Kevin who worked and paid bills and watched football. The feminine Kylie who wore dresses and did makeup tutorials and made him laugh until his sides hurt. David said he loved both versions of me. Said it did not matter that I was born male because my feminine side was what made him fall in love in the first place. For 3 years I believed him. For 3 years I thought I had found someone who could love all of me without conditions. The breakup text came on a Tuesday while I was at work. By the time I got home that evening, all my stuff was packed in boxes by the front door. David was not even there. Just my belongings and a note saying I had until the end of the week to find somewhere else to live. I spent that night calling everyone I could think of looking for a place to crash. My parents had cut me off when I came out 2 years ago. My old roommate had moved across the country. The few friends I had were either broke college students or still lived with their parents. By Thursday, I was sleeping in my car behind a 24-hour diner. Everything I owned crammed into the back seat. My beautiful dresses wrinkled and stuffed into garbage bags. My makeup collection scattered and broken from being moved so many times. That was when I discovered what other femboys hide behind closed doors. Because I was not the only one sleeping rough that week. I met Robert at the diner around 3 in the morning. He was sitting alone in a corner booth drinking coffee and trying to make it last as long as possible. Something about the way he held himself reminded me of how I felt when I was in feminine mode. Delicate. Careful. Like he was protecting something precious. We started talking and within an hour I knew. The 2 smooth legs under his jeans. The way he unconsciously touched his face like he was used to wearing makeup. The careful way he spoke like he was editing himself constantly. Robert was like me. And he was homeless too. Been sleeping in my car for 2 months, he told me quietly. Ever since my family found out about my feminine side and kicked me out. What do you do during the day? I asked. Try to find work. Try to find a place to live. Try not to let anyone figure out what I am. He laughed bitterly. Pretty much failing at all 3. We decided to team up. Pool our resources and look out for each other. It felt good to have someone who understood what it was like to live between 2 worlds. Someone who knew how exhausting it was to constantly hide huge parts of yourself. Over the next few weeks, we developed a system. During the day, we would job hunt and apartment search together. At night, we would find safe places to park our cars and sleep. On weekends, when we had a little extra money, we would get a cheap motel room and finally relax. Finally be ourselves. That was when I learned about Robert's secret stash. We were in a motel room near the airport on a Sunday night. I had just finished transforming into Kylie for the first time in weeks. Putting on a simple white dress and doing my makeup carefully in the bathroom mirror. When I came out, Robert was sitting on the bed holding a small wooden box. I want to show you something, he said. Something I have never shown anyone else. He opened the box and inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Pictures of different people in feminine clothes and makeup. All beautiful. All radiant. All looking genuinely happy. Are these other femboys you know? I asked. They are all me, he said quietly. I looked closer at the photos. Each one showed a different feminine persona. Different wigs and outfits and makeup styles. Different expressions and poses. It was like seeing an entire gallery of people who all shared Robert's face. I take one picture every time I get dressed up, he explained. Been doing it for 5 years now. Even when I was living at home and had to sneak around to do it. Why? I asked. Because I never want to forget, he said. Never want to forget how it feels to be beautiful. How it feels to be myself. Even when everything else falls apart, I have these moments. These perfect moments when I was exactly who I was supposed to be. He handed me the box and I looked through picture after picture. Robert at 16 trying on his first dress. Robert at 17 with professionally done makeup. Robert at 18 in a gorgeous prom dress he never got to wear to an actual prom. Robert last month in a simple sundress looking radiant despite living in his car. This is what we really hide, he said. Not the clothes or the makeup. The hope. The proof that we can be beautiful and happy and worth loving even when the world tells us we are wrong. I started crying then. Looking at those pictures, I understood something I had never put into words before. Every time I transformed into Kylie, I was not just putting on a costume. I was creating hope. Proof that there was a version of me worth fighting for. Worth protecting. Worth believing in. I stopped taking pictures after David left. I admitted. Stopped believing there was any point in being beautiful if nobody wanted to see it. Robert pulled out an old camera from his backpack. Want me to take one now? I looked at myself in the motel mirror. My makeup was not perfect and my dress was wrinkled from being stuffed in a bag for weeks. But I was still Kylie. Still beautiful. Still worth documenting. Yes, I said. He took 3 pictures of me that night. Me smiling despite everything that had gone wrong. Me looking hopeful despite having nowhere to live. Me being feminine and proud and unashamed despite a world that wanted me to disappear. That was 2 months ago. Robert and I both found jobs and got a small apartment together as roommates. Nothing romantic, just 2 people who understand what it means to fight for the right to exist authentically. I started taking pictures again. Building my own collection of hope. Proof that Kylie survives no matter what happens to Kevin. Evidence that beauty and femininity and joy cannot be taken away from us no matter how hard people try. During one quiet evening, I found the Prism Stories website while researching feminine sizing. I used their calculator and bought a book called My Closet Has Secrets. Reading it reminded me that my journey was not unique. Other people had struggled and survived and found ways to hope. Last week, something incredible happened. I was walking through downtown in feminine clothes for the first time since David left me, feeling confident and beautiful and proud of who I am. A woman stopped me on the street. "Excuse me," she said. "I hope this does not sound weird, but you look absolutely radiant. Whatever you are doing, keep it up because you are glowing." She had no idea I was. No idea about my struggles or my homelessness or my heartbreak. She just saw someone who looked happy and confident and beautiful and wanted to acknowledge it. That night I took a picture of myself smiling bigger than I had in months. Added it to my growing collection of hope. Proof that we are not just surviving but thriving. Not just existing but living boldly and authentically and beautifully. The secret every femboy hides behind closed doors is not shame or fear or self-hatred. It is hope. Pictures and videos and memories of moments when we felt perfect. When we looked in the mirror and loved what we saw. When we knew without a doubt that we were exactly who we were meant to be. We hide this hope because it feels fragile. Because the world tries so hard to convince us we are wrong or broken or impossible. Because admitting we believe in our own beauty feels dangerous when so many people want to take it away from us. But hope is not fragile. It is the strongest thing we carry. It survives breakups and homelessness and rejection and violence. It survives families who do not understand and partners who get tired of explaining us to their friends. Hope is what gets us up every morning and helps us put on makeup even when we have nowhere to go. Hope is what makes us take pictures of ourselves looking beautiful even when we are sleeping in cars. Hope is what reminds us that we are worth fighting for even when everyone else has given up on us. The secret behind closed doors is that we never stop believing in ourselves. Never stop working toward a world where we can be feminine and masculine and everything in between without apology. Never stop hoping that someday love will be easier to find and harder to lose. That hope is what makes us beautiful. That hope is what makes us strong. That hope is what makes us impossible to defeat no matter how hard the world tries. We hide it behind closed doors not because we are ashamed of it, but because it is too precious to risk losing. Too important to let other people touch. Too powerful to share with anyone who might try to take it away. But maybe it is time to stop hiding. Maybe it is time to show the world what real hope looks like. What real beauty looks like. What real strength looks like when it refuses to be anything other than authentically itself. Maybe the secret is ready to come out from behind closed doors.